Last night, I did some measurements on the bottom of the hull. You can see them. So right there, the circle is where the drive shaft would be centered between the two lines. And I also have this tiny little mark back here where the rudder is supposed to come through. I don't really like that position. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill out where the drive shaft goes through. Let's take things one step at a time. Sweet. So, I think my plan worked out pretty dang good there. That gap is pretty parallel. So all I did, or I guess what the instructions wanted me to do, measure to 5 inches, extend another like 2 1/4 or something like that, and cut out that full section. Drill this hole at either end, and then cut out the whole center section. Well, why do that when you can just, if your goal is to center it, drill right in the center? I see a potential issue, I guess. If you want to keep this same angle, but be able to move the shaft forward or backwards slightly to accommodate for the rudder, my process might be a little bit of a challenge to adjust. However, if this does work out, that turns out about perfect. Minimal glue, minimal sealing up, and man, does it look clean. It might look like I haven't made too much for progress this week. Physically, probably not. Education-wise or research-wise, I've actually done quite a bit on this boat. I was a little bit nervous to post this video because I don't want to leave you guys with dull videos or something that's lacking in content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain my thought process on this. I opted for going with guts out of a Traxxas Blast, and one of the issues that I came into contact with, this prop off the Traxxas Blast measures in at 33.5 millimeters. Now, if we measure the Chris Craft prop, we're measuring in at 24.6 millimeters, 24 and a half. Just by looking at it with my eye bulbs, I would say that this prop is about 25% smaller than that. What does that have to do with anything? Well, if we flip this boat over, actually first, we'll do that. We'll flip it over. If we flip this boat over, shove this prop in here, and you'll see that I did cut the hole to the correct angle, as you'll see earlier in the video. What we might run into an issue with, and now that I look at it, possibly not, because this is a much bigger prop, are we going to run the risk of hitting the bottom of the boat? It doesn't look like it, so we might be good on the shaft angle, thank God, and maybe even the shaft position. I might need to bring it into the boat a little bit. We'll see. I can always take a little bit out of this white plastic chunk here, scoot the prop in, but again, we have to keep that clearance on the bottom of the hull. I'll have to see if there's a tolerance that's required. Once we get that established, we have the rudder that's going to go in roughly here. Now, depending on those spacings, it might pose another issue. What I want to do because I am running the Traxxas electronics and the Traxxas motor, I'm also going to be running cooling in this boat. Something that Dumas products didn't initially intend to have. So I'm going to need a water pickup and I'm going to need a water exit for this cooling system. What I was thinking, and let me know what you guys think, I was thinking of taking the original dip tube that's on the back of the Traxxas Blast and relocating it between the propeller and the rudder. That way, water is being shoved into that tube, cooling the motor, and then, what I think you guys will think is kind of neat, the exhaust bung, or the exhaust port, whatever you want to call it, that goes on the back of the transom, I'm actually going to drill that out, and that's where the water is going to exit. So it'll shoot out the back of the boat, and it won't be like a rooster tail or anything crazy. It won't be a side dump like is on the Blast. It'll be hidden fairly nicely. I'm just hoping that when you go to turn the rudder one way or the other, the water flow isn't affected by that pickup tube. The other thing that I would like to discuss, and I'll show you guys a picture here in just a second, is this shaft is 1/8 of an inch in diameter, and so is this motor shaft. Well, finding a coupling, or even like a spring flex coupling, has proven to be fairly difficult. And maybe you guys have been through this, but I did find a universal joint that is 1/8 to 1/8 out of California. So I think I'm gonna go with that. I also seen options for a solid coupler. Now that means that I'm gonna have to be incredibly precise when I go to make my motor mount and place this motor inside the boat, because you don't want it so much as 1/4 of a degree off, because you're going to create friction on the brass tubing here. So it has to be as perfect as possible. Oh man, here it is. Lining these two pieces up. So not sure if I should go with a solid coupling, if I should go with a CV coupling. But that's where I'm at with this boat right now. The other thing I have to keep in mind is I still need to do my anti-fouling paint on the bottom. I still need to do 1 to 2 more coats of epoxy. And I need to glue both the rudder and the drive shaft in. Lots to think about. I don't want to screw it up. So if it seems like I'm not putting out enough content or progressing fast enough, I just wanted you guys to know that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Lastly, behind the scenes, another reason why I didn't get quite as far as I had hoped to on this boat is we continued insulating the garage. We'll show you some B-roll on that. But I think with that, we're gonna close out another week. Next weekend, I hope you guys have a little bit better of a video. Yeah. Thanks for watching.